Alright, Maddie, also known as Hello Interloper, back for part 2 of this discussion. Unfortunately, my iPhone shut off as I was talking there, so we're going to have to do part 2. So anyway, as I was saying, glancing hits, Pixie has that as a basic attack, Sky Dancer has that as a basic attack, and Sylphs that have Cyclone, like wind and ice, water, whatever, have a glancing effect debuff. So just overall, that's rather interesting that now Aqua Frenzy will have that added, especially because McKeen, I believe that's her awakened name, she's kind of seen mostly as a fusion monster. She's not really seen as having any other use. This will add a little more utility to her as a reviver, you know, a healer, and she's kind of a combo monster because she also does have a good freezing basic attack if you do have her critical rate really high. Fire Undine has Fire Frenzy. The additional effect is a 50% chance to disturb the target's HP recovery for 2 turns. That's rather interesting because Fire Undine is generally seen as the least useful one, so this is going to add a little more utility to her. Now, Dark Undine has Dark Frenzy, and the additional effect is a 50% chance to decrease the attack bar by 30%. Pretty interesting. Now, we're seeing some alterations to the Taoist. All of them have Fake Attack as their basic ability. Instead of increasing the critical rate by 30%, the skill will now decrease the target's attack bar for 1 turn. If the attack lands a critical hit, this attack will additionally increase the target's chances of landing glancing hits for 1 turn. That's rather interesting because it's a pretty big change. This might mean that Taoist will need some critical hits, critical rate to actually, you know, make this ability more useful. But the glancing hits is pretty nice too, and the attack power reduction, decreased attack target's attack power for 1 turn, is kind of useful too. So Taoist, Water, and Dark have Angry Wave. Additional effect, stuns the target for 1 turn if the target is already under an attack speed decreasing effect. That's rather interesting because I'm pretty sure Angry Wave has a chance to reduce the attack speed, and I think it's 2 waves. So I guess if it works the first time, it applies the debuff the first time, then the second time it will stun. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Taoist Fire has Flame of Ascension, and the additional effect will be that each attack has a 30% chance to increase the target's cooldown time by 1 turn. That actually makes Fire Taoist a little more useful. Before, everyone asks, oh, is he good? And the general answer is food, trash, don't use. So that's kind of interesting. Howl Water, also known as Lulu, who's a pretty good early mid-game healer, has Remove and Heal. The skill will now remove 2 harmful effects on all allies instead of 1. This is making her a lot more useful and a lot better of a choice if you do not have Belladon. Howl Fire has Dispel Attack. The skill will now remove up to 6 harmful effects on allies instead of 4. Generally, I still don't think that that's going to make too much of a difference, just because I don't think Howl Fire is very useful to begin with. Whoopsies. Alright, Undine Light, Absolute Defense. The additional effect removes up to 2 harmful effects on the ally target and grants invincibility. That's pretty interesting. I'm not very familiar with Undine Light, but sounds like it's going to be an interesting change. Now, Sylphid Fire is generally seen as the least useful Sylphid. A lot of times I see people 6-starring her and everybody in the channel going, oh, what a mistake, don't even bother, that's food. So this is kind of interesting that she's getting a little bit of a change here. Her Sacrifice passive, the skill now activate even when you die from continuous damage, bomb damage, reflected damage, etc. And that's kind of interesting because usually killing something from continuous damage is a way how to avoid a passive from being triggered. Like, let's say if you're fighting, what is it called? Dragons. You're fighting dragons, you want to kill the crystals with continuous damage, usually, if you don't want to have that retaliatory attack put on one of your monsters. Because if you kill one of the crystals, the dragon gets really pissed at whoever killed that crystal and does a lot of damage. So, this is rather interesting that now any kind of death will trigger that passive. I'm not really sure how useful that will make her, but it's a welcome change. The stats of some monsters have been changed. Vagabond Wind has stat changes. Stats have been changed to fit the HP type monster. So, I guess he's going to be a little more tanky now. New leader skills have been added for some monsters. Now, this is a lot of fun because a lot of these monsters are fairly used. They're very viable monsters, and now they're going to have a leader skill, so that just adds a lot more utility to them. So, Death Knight Water. Defense of all allies will be increased by 25%. Death Knight Fire has the same. Death Knight Wind has the resistance of all ally monsters increased by 30%. Death Knight Light has the attack speed of all ally monsters increased by 19%, which is on par with the Sylphs, like Beretta, Tyron, etc. Death Knight Dark now has resistance of all ally monsters increased by 30%, which is the same as Death Knight Wind. Now, Rakshasa. I'm not even going to try there. Water has attack power of all ally monsters increased by 25%. Fire, also known as Hua, is the critical rate will be increased by 90% for all monsters. Wind attack power increased by 25%, same as water. Light is critical rate, same as fire. Dark is attack power, same as wind and water. Now, Cowgirl is getting a leader skill. That's pretty interesting. Water is attack power of all ally monsters will be increased by 21% in dungeons. Cowgirl Fire, all attack power of all ally monsters will be increased by 21% in arena. Wind, same thing but in guild battle. And Dark is a general attack power boost. It applies anywhere. And it's 18%. So, the AI of some monsters have been improved. Beast Monk, Water, and Dark Defend. The AI will no longer use the skill when the monster's HP is low. Nine-Tailed Fox, Fire, and Dark Enchant. The AI will no longer use the skill in the dungeons to bosses or towers that are immune to the effect. That's pretty useful. Sylph Dark, Nightfall, will no longer use it to bosses or towers that are immune. Mermaid Water, Song of Sirens, will also no longer use it on bosses or towers that are immune. Frankenstein, Wind, Water, and Dark will not use Taunt on bosses or towers that are immune to the effect. Mermaid Dark, Serenity, the AI will now attempt to heal according to the ally HP situation. Oracle Light, Start and End. The AI will now use the skill more often based on how many harmful effects are on the allies. Now, the skill description of some monsters has been revised, and generally this is a whole lot of crap. I'm not going to go through all of these, because basically it's just wording. There isn't any actual change going on here. So, if you want to look at this yourself, it's in the notice section of the game, but I'm going to skip that. Skill errors have been fixed. Joker Water Revival Magic, which is its passive. The issue of beneficial effects, invincibility, immunity, not activating when being revived under certain situations has been fixed. Anubis Water, Wind, Return of the Underworld King, passive. The issue of beneficial effects, attack speed, attack power, increase effect not having activated when being revived under certain conditions has been fixed. Mummy Light, Soul Division, the issue of HP distribution effect kicking in when targeting an unrevivable ally has been fixed. Death Knight Wind, Supply. The skill will no longer distribute HP to unrevivable allies. Garuda Light, Light of Recovery. The effect, if there are no allies revived by the skill, the cooldown decreases by 2 turns, will also activate with unrevivable allies. Phantom Thief Water, Crime Alert. The issue of Vampire Rune effects not applying has been fixed. Polar Queen Wind, Wind of Changes. The issue of Shield and Will runes effects not being removed under certain situations has been fixed. Lizardman, for his basic attack, Poisonous Teeth, the issue of not being affected with the defense decrease effect with the second attack when the effect has been applied with the first attack has been fixed. Neostone Agent Fire, Attack Command, the issue of harmful effect removal not being applied on the attacking part of the skill has been fixed. Dragon Knight Dark, Eye for an Eye passive, the skill has been changed to receive the attack bar increase effect if at least one of the multiple hits lands as a critical hit. Now, due to the skill modification of Water Dragon Knight, changing from Torrent to Justice, the skill icon for Justice of the Dragon Knight, Water, Light, and Fire has been changed. So, that's about it. A lot of changes are being put into play, so make sure you take a look at this list yourself if you need a refresher, and make sure that you kind of keep an open mind, because this is going to be different. A lot of monsters are changing. A lot of monsters that used to be seen as not as good or being food are now suddenly going to become a lot more useful. A lot of monsters that used to be kind of scary are now going to be a lot more scary. So this is really going to change the game a lot. And whether that's for better or worse, I guess we have yet to see. And I guess we'll also have to wait and see if some of these are going to actually change from what their proposed changes are here. Anyway, until next time, good luck everybody.